Okay, this is DJ Emra bringing you a very personal lesson to your particular Chromebook or cell phone. You can work with somebody in groups and you can watch this together and share earbuds, but you're going to fill these notes out and pause the video when necessary. You're going to raise your hand. You're still going to ask questions. You're still going to answer questions. You can use a whiteboard to answer the questions. You need to have the notes filled out. When everything is complete, you can move on to your homework. This is the packet we're working in, the percent packet. Today we are working on percent increase and decrease. We've already done pages 1 through 4. So we are on page 5. Not every lesson is an easy lesson. I will let you know when they are. This lesson happens to be a little bit harder, and everything gets harder when the reading is more difficult. So be careful when you're reading these. Pay special attention, underline and highlight. So let's get going. We're going to start with the first question. We have a formula here at the top we're going to use. Just like our old formula, percent over 100 is the part out of the total. This is still my part. This is still a total, except today I'm talking about increase and decrease. So we'll be substituting with an increase or a decrease. And when I do a total, it will always be the original total. I'm also going to talk about another formula, and it's nice to have it at the top. I'm going to call this formula PERT. It is the same exact proportion, except if you cross multiply, move stuff around. This is, you can have the part by itself, the rate or the percent right here, and the total at the end. It basically breaks down to you using the word of as multiply. Great thing about a video is if it goes too fast, you could always slow it down and redo it. So feel free to do that at any point to go back or forwards and rehear something. So here we go. John increased his trading card collection by 5 cards. He originally had 15 cards. What is his percent increase? And we won't use this equation for now. We'll use our original proportion right here, formula. So what do I tell you about starting a word problem? Think. We should always start our word problem with X. Where is the X in a word problem? Where is the question of the word problem normally located? I'm going to want you to write this answer on the whiteboard. The question in a word problem is almost always right at the end. What is the percent increase? So X is percent increase. So since we're doing percent, we're going to write our formula. Percent over 100 is over of. X is percent.
Please pardon this interruption for a few brief announcements.
We put X in the percent section.
Boys and girls modified basketball.
And I want percent
There is no practice today.
increase. Got to label that.
Practice will resume as scheduled on Monday.
So I want to know, how much is the increase? Fill that out. What was its original total? Fill that out. Pause this and solve the rest of the problem.
The National Honor Society would like to thank you for participating in the food drive. You were very generous and we really appreciate it. The food will be delivered today. The homeroom that brought in the most.
Now you need to pause this before you continue.
A whopping 68 items. Your yummy breakfast.
Let me know if you have any
will be here
questions.
on Tuesday. Thank you and have a good day.
When you solve a proportion, you need to cross multiply. We need to work down. A lot of you are used to working across. At this point, we're going to work down. All of this you should have done before you unpause the video. To save the Princess X from the evil multiplication, we will defeat multiplication with a division. That is an inverse operation. that, and we need to get rid of the 15 because he's the guy that's attacking Princess X. You're going to put 500 divided by 15 in your calculator, and you should get 33.3 repeating, and this was a percent, so we should be labeling it percent. So that is a 33.3% increase if he gets 5 more cards than what he used to have. Okay? So we're going to move on to the next question. Suppose instead of increasing his collection by 5, John increased his 15 card collection by just 1 card. Will that percent increase be the same as somebody else who's increasing their ring collection by 1 card? And this doesn't say this. If she started with 5. So I want you to do that on your own. Pause this right now and tell me, will increasing a card collection by 1 card, if you started with a 15, how will that be the same or different from her doing also a 1 item increase when she started with 5? Any version of work is acceptable. Pause this, and when you're ready, unpause it and check your answer. So what I did is I said 1 out of 5 compared to 1 out of 15. Remember, if I'm going to a party and I only have to share pizza with 5 people, I'm getting a heck of a lot more or a larger slice than the party that's sharing with 15. So I don't actually have to even do a percentage right now. I know this is more. So no, they are not the same amount of increase. Because 1/5 is more, and I showed it there. Okay, and you could put these in the calculator and see the decimals if you don't understand why with that. And if you ever have a question, raise your hand and ask it. You can still do it even though we're doing a video because I'm still here in the room. All right, so based on your answer to part B, is displaying the change as a percent useful? Well, I didn't display it as a percent. So how would I do this as a percent? I'm trying to find the percent, so the X would go here. And if I did this, what is X? Pause it. Okay, if you've unpaused it, then I could do cross multiplying, but I can go from 5 to 100 pretty quick by just multiplying by 20. So 1 times 20 means this is 20%. And 1 out of 15, I can also change to a percent quickly. I can show you something else that's cool. If I want to change that fraction to a percentage, I can press my fraction button, 1/15, and then there's a change it to percent button. Anytime you see a triangle, that means change it to, and it's green, so I got to press green. If I change that to a percent, it's 6.7% approximately. And it's beneficial to change it to a percent. Why? What is a percent out of? Percent is out of 100. When you convert it to a fraction. So it's beneficial to change it as a percent because they have the same units. Kind of like when we're doing comparison problems, we change everything to a decimal. Before they had different denominators, and now they have the same denominators. Okay, the next thing we want to do at the bottom is understand paying and not paying something. So if I pay 90% of my bill, at this point, I'm going to practice with you the PERT formula. Of means, everybody, times. And am I paying a total or am I paying a part? I pay the part of the total if I'm only going to pay 90%. So the 90% is my rate, so it goes under the rate. The bill, do you know how much the total bill was? Ooh, focus in here. I don't know what the total bill was, so I'm just going to say of is times, and the total is whatever my bill is. And this is the part, then I'm going to pay. So I don't have numbers for this, but I can still write a formula. So I just want you to understand that this is where the numbers would substitute in. If the bill was $20, if I multiply that by 90%, I would use the percent button in my calculator. I would get what I pay. So I want you to compare that to somebody saying 10% of my bill will be subtracted from the original total. So if I use my PERT formula, my original total is still the actual bill. And if I'm subtracting 10%, percentages still go in the rate section. If you subtract 10%, that's going to go in here. What am I subtracting the 10% from? And if ever you can't read anything, just let me know. It says 10%. So what do I always start with? What percentage is the entire thing? Always. Well, how much? That's right, 100%. And this is still going to be what I pay. So what's 100% minus 10%? That's right, that's 90% of the bill, of meaning times. I'm going to still pay 90%. So the point of the bottom of this page right here is to understand that paying 90% is the same thing as not paying 10%. Do you see the relationship between the 90 and the 10? Does anybody recognize it? The part you pay and the part you don't pay always has to add up to what number? That's right, 100%. The 90 and the 10 have to add up to 100%. Okay, at this point, I just want to make sure that you're actually following along. Could you please raise your hand and tell me your favorite color? Pause the video. Tell me your favorite color. I'll tell you mine. It's blue.